Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Newsbeat Nightly. Gonna go over the market today, and I guess what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to show you right now the value of the live room. And by all means, it's fine. I figured out by this time that I would just talk about what I do in the Newsbeat Live, share with you guys what I'm doing in the Newsbeat Nightly. I traded, you know, we'll get into that. So this is what I said. This is what I said in the pre-market this morning. We're talking 8:42 or 9 o'clock when I posted in the room. I said technically we have a very unique formation since Friday. This is also what I said on the Newsbeat Nightly. Days ago, 2 days ago, and yesterday, before yesterday, 2 and 3 days ago, excuse me. I said this isn't your average pullback. Based on my personal parameters, the market is set for another tremendous move between today, I said it this morning, and Thursday. Either way, I said the Fed speaks today, and I think the next down move happens this week. I also mentioned that every time we pull down like this, we always rally back. And what I am saying is this time is different. All right. It's nice when you have conviction if you could profit off it. So I took a very modest approach to the market today. I thought the best short ideas were just light positions. I think you guys figured out that, you take 500 shares here, 500 shares there. You've done some thick, sexy names. Facebook, we attacked the FANG stocks. I don't want to spell it out, but we did it without the letter N. We didn't trade Netflix, so we just traded Facebook, we traded Amazon, and we traded Google through the short side. And I think what you guys are seeing now is the return of a bear market in the future. Now, yesterday on the Newsbeat Nightly, when we were talking where do I think the Qs can go and what do I consider this down move, I said the 50 moving average. I'm not saying we do or we do not hit. There's a good chance we hit it tomorrow. You would need a very big down move. But look at this average 50. You got a level here of 137.14. We said we're coming down to the 50. Now, I'm not saying it happens tomorrow. I was looking for a big down move today or tomorrow. It happened today. I think a $2.30 drop in the triple Qs is easily in this market what I would consider a major down move. Now, it wasn't as major of a down move as Friday, but at the same time, I could see us digesting sideways a little more. I could see us getting follow through. The first day that we have high pre-market volume in the Qs is the day that we're going to get another red bar like today. So, how am I defining that? Today, when we were up this morning, I think most of us pretty much knew it was going to go red, or were at least smart enough to bet on it. While the market was up today, we were bearish because of this rising wedge. But at this point, how do you trade moving forward now? How do you trade tomorrow? That's the question. It's very important to notice what you did right on a day like today. Believe it or not, the majority of traders I spoke to were surprised by this. I wasn't that surprised we didn't head lower because I thought we would just have to, beat out that volume from yesterday. And that yesterday's volume right over here, yesterday's volume in the Qs was 51 million. We did 60 today. And why it's important is because it allows you to read the future. We bounced right up to the exponential 8, blipped it, and then fell over, peeled over. Triple Qs are, is that legitimate? Wow. Damn right. It's gap down. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, if we open, I'm making the call right now. We'll talk about it tomorrow. If we gap down, meaning when 9:30 opens, where is the Qs opening up? That's what I consider a gap down. Or gap up, or gap at all. So where these triple Qs, and you could use the spiders. Mostly the same stuff. I just like this ETF. It's nothing personal. You could use the spiders, you could use the diamonds. I mean, you're looking at chart patterns that are very similar. Most of them. Spiders. All right, it doesn't look exactly the same. Spiders looks a little more bullish than the Qs. But what does that mean on the spiders? You're telling me you don't think you'll test 241.75 and break that level? I think you do. But back to the triple Qs, because this is what I'm using as, I think this looks more bearish than the spiders. Especially when you have like banks going up today. You know what I'm saying? So there were sectors of the spiders that traded more bullishly than the triple Qs, which is obviously 100% non-financial. But when you look at the market from this aspect, you say to yourself, why the 50 moving average, and why are the Qs going to hit it maybe even tomorrow? Why are the Qs going to eventually hit that 50 moving average, whether it happens tomorrow or next week? Just keep in mind what I'm insinuating here. The 50 is at 137.14. It might be at like 137.30 tomorrow. I mean, I'm insinuating a $2.45 drop here on the triple Qs. At the moment, if it happens on Monday, it'll be less, but you get it. It's just that red line. It's a simple 50 moving average. You could go to freestockcharts.com and plug this in, and almost every charting software imaginable has this parameter. It's a simple 50, and the Qs are going to go there. The Qs can't wait to get there. So, tomorrow, if we gap down, it's all about breaking. Wow, you have to go to a 15-minute. It'll be all about 139.02 tomorrow. You watch that level, and then you watch 138.62, which is the day low. Use this 15-minute candle, then you use the day low for conviction. Because once we break 138.62, this thing isn't going to break it a little and pop up. Even on this day, on Friday, after you plummeted, when you broke 138.11, you did it by at least 64 cents. So there's no reason to think that the Q shouldn't even try to get to like 138 if you're breaking this 138.62 level, and of course the 139.02 level. So I'm giving you two levels of reference for conviction. Those are conviction levels in the market. Where you short it is up to you. The closer you short to those levels, above those levels, obviously, the much better. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to look at the pre-market volume and then make a prediction. Is this the day where I go short? And the pre-market volume was rather high today. I knew it didn't make sense in a rising wedge to have elevated volume. That's how I knew the market was a short. Facebook. Here's the rising wedge translated from the daily. You just literally saw it breaking down. And I thought we called a good short level in Facebook. Google, maybe I could have called a better short level by a few points, 4 points or so. But Google, from where we were watching short, plummeted. Absolutely plummeted. I mean, this thing dropped so many points today. And Amazon, I thought that was a great call, shorting Amazon. Stock dropped, what, 20 points since the call out? There's money to be made on 20 points. And I'm telling you, like 500 shares, something that, obviously Amazon is whippy. It moves. But yeah, 500 shares of Amazon. I think that's an easier, for me, I would rather have 500 shares of Amazon than like 5 puts. I'd rather have 500 shares of Amazon and risk, 5 to 10 points, wherever your level is of, risk management, and say, can I try to make like 8 to 15 points? And for me, the puts, if Amazon didn't move today, the puts would have just bled out in time value. They would have just gotten destroyed. So I think you guys see the power of that after today, but it's going to be, again, day's over. Thankfully, I have nothing really negative to talk about for today. And let's just go on and see the new setups. We're going to look for bullish dojis. Look at Tesla. Are you kidding me? A high-end doji. Is that going to be a reversal or a follow-through? I'm not going to be the one who makes money shorting Tesla. In fact, it's just one of the most bullish names right now. I would stay. And look, I know you're going to have a down move. I'm just saying, I'm not the one who wants to take that risk. Why would I want to short? Let me ask you a question. Why would I want to short this Tesla when I have a chart that looks like this? That's called Apple. You know, small little company. When I have a chart that looks like this, Facebook. When I have a chart that looks like this, Google. Why do I need to look at Tesla and say, this is the one I want to short because it went up too fast and didn't go down with the market? And a lot of people think like that. I know it. It's the toxic thinking. Thinking, oh my God, this one is just waiting for a down move now. Look at it. The market plummeted and this little thing keeps going up and up and up and up and up. Okay, there are days where you could short Tesla. But I'm telling you, the type of trader I am today, I don't short this. I won't. For like, if there's a negative news story, whatever, we could talk about it. But like, just saying if there's no positive or negative news tomorrow on Tesla, and it just, digests, if somebody comes out, talks smack about it, upgrades it, downgrades it, whole other story. But like, I'm asking you as a trader, do you really feel compelled when you see a formation like this to short it? Shame on you. Okay, Pulte Homes. That's a nice little volume bullish doji. See if I could get a good hourly on it. It's okay. I don't know. Guess I could give it through 24.33. A lot of these you need to use hourly triggers because they'll just be a lot more effective for you. HBI is the name we had on the bullish doji last night. And I look at this and you tell me, Mark, it closed 10 cents higher than it did yesterday. And I will make every argument in the world that I gave you a phenomenal good risk reward in a market like this for a stock that closed at day highs. But the fun is over for Hanesbrand and it's going to go down after this. And it's probably going to go down tomorrow. Does anyone else see that? But Mark, you're digesting over the 200. You put in a hammer bar. You close at the day highs in a bull market. Yeah. But you need to dip a little here tomorrow and at least put a tail in within this range. That's my thoughts on Hanesbrand. If there's good news, it'll pop through here with no problem. But if there's no news on Hanesbrand tomorrow, you'll digest down. So that's a bullish name we gave yesterday in a market like this, Hanesbrand. So that was, to me, I think those are good calls. All right, so we were looking at Pulte. I'll just look around a little more. I don't like how big that tail is. I want to see a little more volume, but definitely looks bullish, going over the gap, and I'm just flying through here. Why? Because you really cared about learning my methodology or whatever, You would follow me on a technical basis. I mean, you have your own technicals from now. I'm just giving you names that I'm identifying as strong. Look at LVLT, closed at all-time highs, or was it all-time highs? Nope, not even close. Whoops. Whoops, whoops, whoops. I was about to say, I remember this stock back in 99. These shares used to be $2,000. But anyway, on LVLT, you are breaking out here. And extremely strong name in a market like this. Still going to look around. Still looking. That's a nice bullish doji. BLL Bull Corp. Packaging in containers. Sounds recession proof. Utilities. Sounds recession proof. Now, why am I using the word recession? Do I think we're going in a recession? No, I don't. At least not yet. But I do think people will start leaning money towards some of these names in fear that we might have topped out in the market. And there'll be intraday and overnight opportunities in some of these names. That's what I'm saying. Dear. Oh dear. So Caterpillar had good news. They dropped it though. Their China operations were doing better than expected. They announced it, 10 minutes before the bell today. Expedia. Nope. I talk to people sometimes as a trader and I say, what's your favorite bullish setup right now? You having trouble deciding between two or three? What are your three favorite bullish setups? Give me one of your most bullish setups or bearish setups that you see in the market. And I ask traders that all the time. And they're like, that's hard. That's bad. If you don't know what to do to make your chart look better, you could simply say, I haven't found any. Like for me, this is the best bullish doji I'm looking at right now. FX. Descending resistance breakout. 8 is curving up again, pulling away from the 21 and 50 moving average. 200 is moving average is far away. You're putting in a bullish doji with elevated volume comparatively to yesterday after the breakout, holding up, closing above that Tuesday high, which was a breakout on a very red day in the market. Now, whatever you like technically, you could say, oh, it's in this Bollinger Band formation. I like the stochastics. It doesn't matter what you like about it, but you should be able to identify what it is that you like about it. And I think that's the most important thing. Everybody, think about it. There's somebody making money off every form of technical analysis out there. It's not about what's better. It's about what you know how to utilize the best. And that's what it really comes down to. It's not like if you can't make money doing Fibonacci, which I don't do, right? But you try to learn, you grow as a trader, you try new things. Okay. That's all I'm going to talk about on bullish dojis. Let's look for bearish ones. And then I get for bullish breakouts and whatnot. Yahoo had a ton of volume. Of course, Alibaba. I mean, this Baba is bullish. I'll make that argument all day that this Baba can explode. And you might be looking at me right now and you might say, Mark, what are you looking at? I think you would have to be out of your mind to short Alibaba. That's what I'm saying. Why? Because this is how Alibaba looks like right now. Look at that. Just like you don't short this one for a different reason than Tesla. You don't short this one because this is really a bull flag rising wedge. If you just draw a line here on the gap, you get a look. That's what Baba looks like. Is that unbelievable? Are you in shock? If Baba tests this 8 moving average tomorrow, you want to be short in the market and hedge something, Baba is one of those names you hedge long with. in the market. If you wanted to say, I want to go long, name that's holding up well, and short for almost like a pairs type of trade, like a, I mean, I'm sure there's a better terminology for it. I call it a dirty pair trade because it's like, all right, you have Alibaba, for example, long, but you have Google short, which has nothing to do with Alibaba, or Facebook short, just different sector pair trades like that almost. I think this would be the formation you want to remain long. And I called it bullish every day since it broke out last week. I would not be the one shorting this name. Even look at it on a day like today. You closed at 136.60 yesterday. You closed 7 cents higher today. Now you might think closing 7 cents higher is not a big deal, and it isn't had this not happened in the market today where we plummeted on a big red bar. And we closed halfway up just like we did before. Okay. Let's look for some bearish dojis. Yes, don't short Alibaba. I mean, I can never give you, I'm obviously only talking to myself. I would never tell you what to do. And you, man. I'm just going to mention Baba as a bullish breakout potential. Even though this thing might last till Friday, between now and Friday, you should get a resolution in this Alibaba. You want to talk timing on it now. Let's see some of the bullish breakouts I mentioned yesterday. I mentioned Hertz. We mentioned Hertz as one of two names bullish yesterday. Is that beautiful or what? Look at that. On a down day. I didn't trade it. I was busy shorting. Pot. This was one I called bullish, and this one went down. I didn't trade this one either. But this is still extremely bullish. Now you're forming a wedge that you can argue looks like this. That's what the algorithms will argue. You closed above every single moving average and you digested on volume. This is bullish. Still. Even with the down move today. Okay. Thanks, Reinhold. I'm just saying, like, there are names, I wasn't, by no means was I, really thinking some serious long today at all. Quite the contrary. What I'm saying is, for you perma bulls out there, we're finding some green names within this game plan. Yeah. I gave Apple as a bearish doji. That worked. I mean, the bearish names. Gave Electronic Arts. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, look at that. Wow, is that bearish? This one actually held up well. I'm mentioning Electronic Arts again as a bearish doji. I'm removing Apple from the list. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, what do I love? I can't believe you actually digested in volume again. You got stuck with a new rising wedge. You resolved the first rising wedge. Look, you're hitting everything as support and resistance, the same as before. But now you're in this wedge. I mean, Electronic Arts might take till Monday to resolve. But if you have a plummet in the market, I don't know how much this support line over here will hold. And if Electronic Arts plummets, you're looking for a target of like 102. So I'm calling about, let's call it 8 points lower on Electronic Arts with a setup like this. Do you have to wait till Monday or day after Tuesday next week? Or does it happen tomorrow? Good chance it happens tomorrow. I'm mentioning it bearishly. All right, let's look at some of the other tremendously volume names. Baba, we're watching that. Hertz. Now, do I mention Hertz again? I think it digests. This is why I'm not going to mention it again for tomorrow, because I think you had lower. And no, I don't want to short this. But you see the fact that you did less volume today than yesterday? Now you might say, what's the big deal? 13.5 million versus 15 million. Unless this stock gets, something positive news-wise, upgrade, etc. on a name like this stock digests tomorrow, and you probably put in a bull flag in which you'll want to buy on the pullback. That's why I'm not mentioning it again. But if it has bullish news tomorrow morning, by all means, my eyes will be glued on this. And I actually mentioned cake as a bearish breakdown, and this one actually headed a little higher. But this cake, still very bearish, and you could see forming a rising wedge here. I'm not going to mention that one again, though. Well, H&R Block exploded. Goodness. Lucky the stock drops till 27.75 and you buy it. That would be interesting. MTBC. That was the volume name Robert was watching. Reynolds Tobacco. Alexian. It's an interesting breakout on Alexian. 118.09. Mention that one. Yikes. I could see this one breaking down tomorrow underneath 38.50. Mention it bearishly. Comores. Bearish engulfing candle, elevated volume, breaks 3 moving averages underneath ascending support. I'm down. Fossil. I just don't see this company making it. And it's funny because a lot of these ideas, I even talked back in 2015 when this stock was in the 50s and 60s and 70s. I used to go to people and say, how many of you guys bought a Fossil watch or know where a Fossil store is located near you? When was the last time you've seen a Fossil product? I hate to say it, but the irony is within the name, Fossil. And it's an imprint usually of a skeletal structure of a once living thing. I think this fossil is going to fossilize itself. Just like Crocs. Maybe Crocs. Maybe Crocs makes a comeback. Crocodiles are cool. But nobody's buying Fossil. Fossil just sounds outdated. It's a terrible name for a company. We sell watches. What's your name? Fossil. You're like, oh. Doesn't, Movado sound so much nicer? Cartier? Casio? Anything. Anything but Fossil, right? Makes up the names of these companies. A company like Fossil doesn't make a comeback. Just like a company called Abercrombie and Fitch won't make a comeback. They'll either barely exist or somebody will just, buy them out because they're annoyed at seeing their name all the time. MOBL, Mobile Iron. That's pretty. I'll mention that as a bullish doji. It's not a name I know, I couldn't tell you the last time I traded this name, if I ever did. Probably did. But that's a bullish trigger through 655. And again, I'll let you guys screenshot the screen when I'm done here so you guys have access to the list as well. In case you miss something. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this service. And I'm going to get to the rooms questions. And here's, let me just make sure that you guys have access to see this. Okay, I'll just remove this. All right, here's my entire list. You can feel free to screenshot now if you would like. This entire list of names that are my focus list for tomorrow. And right there's the tutorial. Right there's the tutorial if you want to watch how to trade the names on this list. Yes, if you're watching it for free online, you might have to sit there and type that in. Okay, let's go to the room. Let's see what you guys are watching. Thoughts on the next Alexian direction? Ha! I already mentioned it as one of the names on the game plan. So, John, I would say 119.56, followed by 123.15. First level 119.56, then actually 121.10, and then 121.45. But let's just be easy. Next move 119.56 on Alexian. Like the pop today over the 50. Made my game plan. Why, right? Look, in all fairness, if you're making money to the short side with us today, would you rather be short a weak name in a market like this or long a strong name? Now, granted, in hindsight, you could say, oh, well, look at that percentage move in Hertz. I would, but you don't get hindsight. You have to make the best decision in, at the moment when you're, right there in the midst of the action. And going short was by far the right idea on a day like today. Why couldn't we catch this one? Me personally, I just focused on the opposite side of the table today. Otherwise, for those who just followed this, it was a great call. And I trade what, 6, 7, 8 names. I'm going over thousands of them too. Let's look at the US dollar ruble chart. Okay. You're gonna head higher. But if you start going to like 50, see, here's the resistance line right here. Here's the resistance line. So tomorrow, I don't want to short when it hits this line. Not this time around. The reason is because you hit it very recently. I think the line breaks. I think you head higher. I think if you could short this thing like 58 to 58.40, you're looking good. And maybe it hits the line and it falls, and I'll be like, oh, well, damn, maybe you should have shorted there. But the fact that you hit that line so closely recently being May 4th on this daily, I think it breaks through. Honestly, I think it would be a short-term short trade if that happened. I think when it breaks through and then it pulls back, that's when you go long. So I was giving you a place to short it and a place to long it. I wouldn't buy here, I wouldn't sell here. But if it went up to 59, I would short. Personally, I'd wait for it to go down, digest, maybe form an ascending support line, then you go long. And you, look, I don't know. What do you think is going to happen? Let me ask you a question. What do you think is going to happen? You're focusing on the U.S. dollar ruble. Obviously, United States Russian relationships are the key deciding factor in this, right? So you have to really stop and ask yourself this. What's going on with Russia? Okay, there's an investigation going on. The president's team, and maybe the president, who knows, might be investigated, right? What do you think's going to happen? First of all, I guess you're betting on if they're going to find something or if they're not going to find something, right? My thoughts is they're going to find absolutely nothing. Why? Because if there was something that they knew of, we would have seen it already in the media. And that's why I have that opinion. By now, by this point, everything gets so leaked these days early that we still haven't found anything according to the law, which was illegal, yet. We would have known about it. There's no smoking gun. Let's put it that way. So nobody knows. So what do you think is going to happen if, and it is, the likely scenario of what I'm saying is going to happen. If they find something crazy and that Russia did do this, oh my God, would this thing explode? And by explode, I mean it would shoot through the ceiling. Bullishly. If nothing is wrong, which is going to be likely the case, I would think that you would at least stabilize, if not head lower. Because remember, this represents how many rubles are worth $1. And you can see it's come a long way. And you see that big pop. That's because of deteriorating relationships. And really, one of the most tremendous punishments to the Russian currency. I mean, the administration talked about China's currency manipulation. The fact that, you know, we have sanctions on Russia destroyed their currency. I mean, wow. I mean, if you want to talk basically everything, like, let me even show you like a monthly chart of this. I mean, these rubles back in like 1997 and 1998, 6 rubles, 5 rubles would get you $1. $1. Now that same US dollar, after being inflated who knows how many times, at one point in January 2016 was 85.75, meaning 85 rubles were $1 from 5. Catching the drift here? Their currency got destroyed. So that's the political front, and that's how I would also handle it, as I said. Nikkei 4-hour and the daily bearish. Okay. Let's see. Daily. This is, you want to argue there's a head and shoulders, and can make certain arguments like that. I would argue you're in a tight wedge formation. So between now and June 21st, you will resolve this. I know you're saying bearish. You might be right because this line is slightly steeper. I would say you could probably short it anywhere above 19,940 is a decent short in my opinion. 19,940. It's an approximation. But that's where I'd want to try my risk reward. And on the 4-hour, I guess that same line translated here would be 19,986 currently on the 4 hour to short. And US dollar Japanese yen, bearish. I think I called it bearish before too when you were watching it here. You were having so many issues with the 8. And look, the day you were supposed to resolve by the zenith, right? It resolved. That would be a similar type of move I would expect in your Nikkei, Ken. I wouldn't be surprised if the Nikkei puts in a crazy candlestick like this between now and that date I gave you of the 21st. GWPH, long bias. Okay, I think you sort of missed it by now because you were on support recently and you bounced. Now you're sort of stuck between moving averages, and if you came down and hit that support again, I would be afraid. So what I do in a situation like that is I draw descending support, and if you want a level on this that I would be comfortable buying at this point for like a swing, not intraday, 90.46, and it would be the attachment of May 11th and June 8th. I'll write that in. And June 8th. You draw the low of those two on the daily, and that's where I would like to be a buyer of GW Pharmaceuticals. BlackBerry. Let's take a look. Oops. Okay. It's not doing that bad given what the market had, diarrhea recently. It's a really, honestly, I agree with you from a fundamental perspective that it goes there. It's just putting in a formation that I'm not even comfortable with. It's just not because it looks so bearish or bullish, it's just weird. I mean, I see 1042 as support tomorrow. But I mean, how many of these little candles are you going to put in a row? You see like what basically happened here since June 2nd? Pretty much since the beginning of June. I don't know how many of these candles are left. I don't know when it's going to like say, okay, that's enough, I'm going to break out. So I couldn't. That is a hard call. I think it'll just happen if it happens. One of the things, like you'll just see and you're like, BlackBerry's really bullish, or some analysts will come out and upgrade it. I think you're going higher than 14 because their technology is going inside cars. I said this company was done unless they get away from the BlackBerry. Pun intended, right? Because I ask everyone, how many people do you know right now who owns a BlackBerry? How many people? I know thousands of people. Thousands. I do not know one person who still owns a BlackBerry. I cannot name you one person. I don't even know. Maybe even the CEO of BlackBerry. Maybe he uses an Apple iPhone. Like, I have no idea. Is he that crazy that he would use a BlackBerry over an Apple? I hope not. As the CEO of the company, he should be embarrassed, though, right? He probably uses a BlackBerry. Probably, when he leaves work, he puts it inside his glove compartment and goes on his Apple iPhone. But this company is breaking into cars and technology, and that's sort of reminds me of what Nvidia is doing. And I think it's a genius move. So short at 59. Yeah. Oh, BlackBerry, yeah. That was one of the real winners. I didn't catch that swing, though. But nonetheless, we should have a very interesting day tomorrow. And I hope you guys enjoyed Newsbeat Nightly. Happy trading, make money. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning on the Newsbeat live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful, wonderful